All right, so on this episode, we're gonna get this flathead forward cam, get started grinding on it anyway. So I've got it in the grinder. I had to straighten it a little bit. It was out just a few thousandths. And I've got it, I dead wheeled it and got it centered up on the lobe to start with. And then I put some blue dicom on it so we can make sure we centered really well on that, because we don't have any material extra. So we want to make sure we definitely centered. So hang loose. I'm gonna bring you in here and then I'll give you a little backstory and then we're gonna get to grinding on this thing. All right, so like I said, this is a going in a little roadster land speed car deal, and I don't remember exactly. He told me the cam specs that they were running now, and it was, you know, just something mild. I don't remember, but it was pretty low lift, and it was, I don't know, mid-20s duration. So we're going a lot more lift and a fair amount more duration, but you know, he's running like that standing mile deal, and then I'm assuming they go into Bonneville too. So I'll get some more information and try to put all of that in this video before we post it, so you'll hear all those details, and I'll try to get some pictures of the car and put all that in the video. But let me bring you in here and we're gonna get started on this first lobe and just see how centered we are and see what it's gonna take to clean this thing up. Because like I say, we probably adding, I'm guessing 35 or 40 degrees of duration, so it's gonna take some material. All right, so hopefully that's a good place and you can see what I'm doing. So we're just gonna try to just sneak up on it. Because I definitely don't want to take no more than is absolutely necessary. Give us a little rougher dress there, because we got to take a lot of material, so we ain't gonna do it in no finish pass, no way. All right, so I can see we're a little higher on this side than this side, so we got to push the cam. We got to advance the cam toward the wheel. So we'll just move our jack screws just a little bit, and then we'll grind a little more, and then we'll just keep an eye on it, because I mean, we're probably only talking half a degree, but again, we don't have any to spare, so even a quarter of a degree is a big deal. I'm just sweeping it over because that lobe is just slightly wider than my stone. Not by much, but let's look at it again. So that's really close. So I think that's gonna be good right there, I believe. But once we get a little closer to the nose, it'll be more evident. And then once we get this one swept in, we won't have to fool with it anymore. We'll be able to just go right on down the line. See, it's just touching the peak right now. It just got the peak, but it's good and centered on both sides. Let's just eyeball it. Man, that's really close. It could use just a touch more advance. And because every one of them is going to have a little different wear, we're gonna have to take a few extra thousandths. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set a stop right there, because I believe we are below, I think we are below, maybe not, but I'm gonna come over on each side and I'm gonna get this little lip off. But yeah, we are 100% cleaned up. Yeah, that cleaned all the way up. So let me come over here and get this. I'm gonna back my wheel head up. And then we'll just knock all this off on both sides and hope to goodness that but if we have to, we can go in there and relieve it. It ain't no end of the world. No, I think he's got the spool small enough. I mean, just barely, but it's small enough. So let's back up and then we'll come over here and then we'll get this side. Yep, so it just barely made it, but it made it. Oh man, I mean, that's probably 10 thousandths that's left. So he done a good job. So, and we'll probably just touch it depending on how the other ones are, if any more have more wear or less wear than this one. But we've obviously got to make a finish pass on this. So we're gonna take 5 or 10 more off of it for sure. But once I get the rest of them roughed in, we'll have a better idea of what's it gonna take. But again, if we have to, you know, I can put it in lathe and we can just come in here and relieve it another 10 or 15 thousandths, whatever it's gonna take, to just so we got clearance so the lifter don't rub the body. That's all we after. So anyway, so it's late. I'm quitting and going home. When I come back tomorrow, we'll finish this video up, and I'm gonna confirm with him. And like I say, I'll try to get some pictures and some more information on this project. But yeah, I was wondering whether or not it was gonna clean up. But like I say, it's gonna be all right. All right, I will see y'all in the morning. All right, so I got all the lobes roughed in, and the exhausts were a little worse than the intakes. So we had to take the base circle down just a little bit extra from the intakes. And so the spool dimension was a little bit, it was a little bit too big. And so we didn't have any room between the actual lobe and the body itself. So instead of taking it out and going to the lathe and all of that, there's room for me to get in there with the wheel. So I'm just gonna grind between the lobes on all of them to get us some clearance for the lifter, so we don't have no issue there. So I got the first one just about done, and then I'm just gonna knock out the rest of them. And then I'll bring you back. Once I get that finished, you can zoom in so they can see what we're doing. So it's just like, we actually, the base circle on the exhaust is about 5 thousandths smaller than the spool diameter. So like I say, we're getting it knocked out now, but we'll just bring the body down till it's about 10 smaller than the base circle on the exhaust is now, and then that should give us enough room for the finish pass. But hopefully it won't take but a minute to grind this down, and then we'll get set up and ready to do the finish pass. But just hang loose, and we'll be right back with that. All right, so we're on the finish pass now, and I brought this one in, and it's done. And then so I got 3 more intakes to do, and then we'll do the exhaust. It actually looks really good to be that small a base circle, but it looks really nice. And I think I was able to get, I mean, it's just barely down on the spools, just, I don't know, I ain't measured it, but it's barely smaller than the journal, but I didn't want to take no more than is absolutely necessary, because you know, it's just so small, it's gonna be flexing a lot anyway. So we're just trying to minimize that as much as possible. looks great. Great. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the rest, and then when we get it done, I'll bring you back, and then we're gonna put it in the cam doctor and check out the lobes and all that stuff. All right, so we got this flathead forward cam done. I'll get Andrew to put a picture up here on the screen. I ground it between the lobes. I ground it down to like 720. I think it was 750 when we started. So I had to grind it down to 720, and then the base circle on the intakes ended up at like 725, I think. So, and it's a little, and again, I'm not a flathead forward guru, but from what I can understand, a Model A did not have a fuel pump lobe, and a Model B did have a fuel pump lobe. And this cam's got a fuel pump lobe, but the Model A lobe separation is 112 and the Model B is 114, and this cam was on a 112. So that's a little confusing. And I didn't actually check I didn't run it in the cam doctor, so I don't know what the duration and lift specs were, but a Model A is 302 lobe lift, and a Model B is 336 or 34. I don't remember. So I should have checked that, but I didn't. And it don't matter. But we ended up, I just run it in the cam doctor. Let me start that screen recorder. Wrong button. Here we go. All right, so we've got, this is the profiles. So let me pull this report. So we ended up at 20, it's 271 and 272 on the exhaust. And only because I'm 99% sure, because the span is so far between the number one journal and the center journal, that there was just some mild deflection doing the intakes, and that's why the intake is just a tick smaller than the exhaust, because each exhaust is right up against the journals. All four of them are right up against the journal. So that's why we see that little bit of deviation between the two. But ultimately, I mean, 1 degree and 271 degrees ain't much. So it come out 240. It's supposed to be 245. It's 245 on the exhaust and 244 on the intake. It's 377.7 on the exhaust lift and 376.7. So we shy 1,000ths lift and 1 degree. And like I say, I'm positive that's just deflection, because those center two lobes, which are intakes, have nothing to support them. And the body diameter is only 720, but we had to do that to get, basically we went from 300 lift to 377 lift. So that's massive in the grand scheme of things. But it turned out really nice. I just feel confident. It's so small, and let's go back over here and look at the lobes. The velocity ain't crazy. The acceleration is pretty spicy. Let's see here. The acceleration is 3 zeros, a 5, a 3, and a 4. So it's getting after it. But again, that's a lot of duration in a short amount of time, so it kind of can't help it, But the velocity is 8.5. almost. So it's it's pretty spicy too. So it's definitely going. And that's kind of the problem. So, but again, this is what they wanted, right? I mean, we just got to give them what they want. But there's no support, and the cam's pretty fast, and it's going to take a decent amount of spring pressure to keep that in check. So guaranteed it's going to flex on the intakes. It's just it can't help it. The exhaust will be okay because they're right up against the journal, but I noticed the intakes had a lot more wear than the exhaust, and I'm sure all of that is from flexing. Um, but there's just, I mean, there's just nothing you can do about it. The journal is so small that to get that much lift that I'm looking for a straight edge. Let me grab a straight edge. Where's a parallel? I just want to see how far it is under the journal. Yeah, so if we'd have had a new billet start from scratch, we could have made the body diameter probably 800, give or take. I mean, I could do the math, but somewhere around 800 probably. And going from 720 to 800 is a lot better. But again, it's still going to flex, I'm sure. But uh, I want to show you some pictures of the car, and again, I just wanted you to see all of the doings because this is back grassroots stuff here. We've done a few of these things, just really, really mild baby grinds. This is the first one I've done, and I didn't even know if we was going to be able to go this big because this thing advertised from the factory on these things is like 236, and we are 272 at 20. So I mean, we probably 35, 40 degrees bigger than the factory cam. So that's substantial. And if we'd have had a new billet, we could have made the lobe separation a lot tighter because it probably would have benefited at RPM from a little, because it's only 112, it probably benefited with the events would have been a lot better if we could have tightened up the lobes a little bit, but that's neither here nor there. Let's look at some pictures of the car. It's a really nice car. So this is a 29 Model A, and like I say, it's slick as glass. And I thought, and it was my bad. I should have read all the emails before I said anything. I thought that they were doing land speed stuff with it, but this is the guy's personal car that he drives on the street. But he has done some standing mile stuff, and I believe he said his personal best was 101.6 in this thing, and it didn't have much cam in it. And I mean, I'm sure the motors had a little work, but it's still all stock configuration. So it's not like it's, some kind of crazy top fuel dragster, got some, super late model Tremec 5-speed in it or nothing like that. So for this thing to do that, I thought that was really interesting. And there's another pic here. I think this was at the standing mile deal, I think. But like I say, it's a good looking little car, and his name is Rick McHale, and he sent me a little email and told me some stuff about it. Like I say, it's a nice car. So I hope that this cam is going to help him get to where he wants to be. But he's part of, and again, I have to go back and read all the emails, but they're doing some land speed stuff with I think he said a big block Chevrolet when I went back and read it. I think maybe hopefully we're going to do a cam for them, and I think they're doing a new build. So he had mentioned something about getting with me on the cam for that. So hopefully we can get in on that deal. And but like I say, it's a really nice car, and I'm glad we was able to make the cam like he wanted it, because that's what he asked for. So I feel confident it'll run good, but I just wish that it wasn't so small, because I know he's going to lose. He's going to lose some in all that deflection. There's just no way around it. So I mean, that 245 cam might actually run and be a, a 230. It's just hard to know, and then that kind of wackies up the events and stuff. But anyway, it was a straightforward job. I enjoyed doing it, and like I say, at some point, because we've already had several requests for these cams, and we're gonna make some new billets at some point. I don't know when, but if you know people that's doing A and B model stuff, and they interested in that, tell them to reach out, because if we can get enough interest, demand, then we're going to make them sooner than later. But anyway, hopefully all of that was interesting. I had a great time doing it. It's been a long time since I done that little flat tappet stuff like that. We used to get a lot of flathead forward V8s and regrind them, but these are steel, so they're not nearly as bad to do. The flathead forwards, they iron. I love doing them things, but the steel I don't mind doing so bad. But anyway, all right. Hopefully that was entertaining and interesting. Rick, you got a really nice car. I hope this works out for you. Thank y'all for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.